feels like the draft. DraftBeat, 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 DraftBeat. DraftBeat, 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 DraftBeat. DraftBeat, 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 DraftBeat. Draft, draft, draft. DraftBeat, 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 DraftBeat. DraftBeat, 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 DraftBeat. DraftBeat, 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 DraftBeat. It feels like the draft, 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 draft.
Welcome to the Miami Heat Beat podcast. JK, it's DraftBeat. Woo! We will be trading this pick for DeMar DeRozan in a few weeks, but in the meantime, the DraftBeat will be having some fun with these hypotheticals. Matt says he's got to run. Apparently in the chat saying you had to run or something. I think that's from your last pod that you were just on. But speaking of Matt, we have a special guest, Matt Hanifan from 5 Reasons Sports. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing good. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. If the Heat do trade this pick for DeMar DeRozan, I will be in free agency looking for a new team. So if there's any takers out there that want to add me along, I'd be very open to that idea, but we'll cross that bridge if and potentially when we get there.
Matt saying wherever Derek Queen goes, I go. Lou, my co-host today, Saucy Takes. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. I'd be doing a lot better if the Vegas odds didn't have us plus 145 in the leading team to get DeMar DeRozan, but we're not here to talk about DeMar DeRozan. We're here to talk about the draft. Let's go.
I just want a quick note that I literally blue skied this 2 weeks ago to the day that I feel like this is the summer DeMar DeRozan finally happens, because this just feels like they're going to swing and miss on KD and end up with DeMar as a best free agent signing since called Luol Deng of the offseason. But, you know, we're not here to completely shatter your hopes and expectations. We're hoping for some fun today. We're going to do a really, really, really early mock draft. Some prospects still can leave and withdraw from the draft and stay in college. The deadline is this week still. So we're seeing some names, potential Heat prospects and targets. Alex Condon from University of Florida specifically. One of those guys that, you know, decided he's going to stay another year with NIL. You know, a lot of those guys late who aren't guaranteed a first round pick, choosing another year to work on their game, get that NIL money. It makes sense. We're dealing with a new era of college basketball and NBA draft, so it all makes sense. But we appreciate you here, Matt, helping us out. And we're going to get right into it. And once we get to the Heat's pick at number 20, we're going to discuss a little bit specifically of what the Heat are looking for, what they need, and we'll discuss it amongst the three of us. For right now, we're going to be working on the Fanspo mock draft simulator. Saucy Takes Mr. Lou is going to have the first pick. He's going to take the odds. Matt will take the evens here. And we go with the very first pick of the 2025 DraftBeat mock draft. Number 1, Nico. Lou takes.
Yep. Full, like early disclaimer. This is what we think is going to happen kind of situation. It's not exactly what we would do situation. With that being said, I would take Uber Flag, and I do think that's who's going to go off the board at number 1. I don't think it's a contest.
Wow. You're not trading him for DeMar DeRozan? I do not know who you are. All right. With the number 2 pick, San Antonio Spurs, Matt Hanifan. Who are you selecting?
Dylan Harper. Easy
choice, quick choice, efficient. Let's go. Lou, Philadelphia.
It's going to be Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey from Rutgers. Him and PG tearing it up on the podcast. Number 4, Charlotte Hornets. Matt Hanifan. Who are they going?
VJ Edgecombe.
I like it. Culture setter. VJ Edgecombe. Here's where the draft really gets interesting. Utah. Who are you going with, Lou?
Number 5, Utah. I think they need some semblance of shooting. I'm going to go Trey Johnson.
I like it. Trey Johnson from Texas. Outstanding shooting guard. DraftBeat fave. We watched a couple of his games in the late tournament. Matt, who are you picking with Washington's 6th pick?
I think I'll say they go Knipple.
Oh, I like that. Con Knipple out of
I have
Duke.
no idea what they do.
Yeah, I think Derek Queen, Fears are all options here as well. Knipple, so I don't dislike that. Lou, 7th pick, New Orleans Pelicans. Who are they going with?
7th pick, the Pelicans. Yikes.
Early yikes.
I don't know what they'll do, but honestly, I think they'll just sit there and take BPA and they'll take Kaman Malawak.
Okay. Center out of Duke, Kaman Malawak. I like it. And with the 8th pick, Brooklyn Nets, who are you going with, Matt?
Jeremiah Fears.
I like it. Let him get some playing time, make some mistakes, and learn. And he's got some good defensive players around him. 9th pick, Toronto Raptors. Lou.
I think the Raptors are going to take the most Raptors guy possible, and I think that's going to be Colin Murray Boyles.
That would be such a Raptors pick. Colin Murray Boyles out of South
I wouldn't
Carolina.
do this.
No way.
He's got like Blazers or Raptors DNA all over him. Phrasing. With the 10th pick, the Houston Rockets, courtesy of Phoenix. Who will they select, Matt?
We could get weird here. I think they go. I'll say Derek Queen.
Derek Queen. Okay, I don't dislike that. He gets compared a lot to Alperen Sengun. So Derek Queen out of Maryland, really talented player. Let's go, Lou. Who is Joe Cronin taking with the 11th pick?
I think Joe Cronin with the 11th pick is probably going to take a flyer on somebody, and it's going to be like Noah Senge.
Okay, Noah Senge. I like that. Not a bad pick. Fits what they usually go for. The Bulls, Matt Hanifan, number 12. We're flying through this. I love it.
The Bulls aren't smart, and they have a ton of guards. So I think they go Yakachonis to even add to that.
Yakachonis.
He's all the way at the top. Kasparas.
Oh, I forgot that's how you put. And it's an Illinois guy. That's who I was thinking. I just forgot how you spell
that too.
It works. They could run a point guard lineup. Let's go. Atlanta, courtesy of Sacramento. Lou.
I think the Hawks are probably going to go in here and they're going to take like if Thomas Sorber clears medicals, but I'm going to just go ahead and say that they'll take Asa Newell.
I agree. I think Sorber or Newell are most likely, especially with Okongwu and Okongwu's development, and then they're losing Capella as well in free agency.
Yep.
With the 14th pick and the final lottery selection, San Antonio Spurs. Matt,
this screams Rasheer Fleming.
Ooh, I like this.
That's who this is exactly who I would have thought they would have had to.
That's the guy are interested in, according to Greg Sylvander of 5 Reasons Sports. With the 15th pick, courtesy of the Miami Heat, Oklahoma City. Who are you taking, Lou?
I think this is where the Thunder take Thomas Sorber.
Oh my God!
Oh,
I'm sick to my stomach if they take Thomas Sorber.
That would be great. That's a great pick. I love that pick. We're gonna recap real quick, just for the audience. Number 1, Mavs take Cooper Flags. Number 2, Spurs take Dylan Harper. 3, Philly takes Ace Bailey. Number 4, Charlotte Hornets take VJ Edgecombe. Number 5, Utah Jazz take Trey Johnson. Number 6, Washington goes Con Knipple, if I could say his name correctly. Number 7, New Orleans Pelicans take Kaman Malawak. Number 8, Jeremiah Fears goes to Brooklyn. Number 9, Colin Murray Boyles goes to Toronto. Derek Queen goes at 10 to Houston. Noah Esenge to Portland at 11. Kasparas, whatever his last name is, no disrespect, stays home and goes to Chicago at 12. Asa Newell at 13 also stays home. 14, Rasheer Fleming joins Wemby for one of the biggest front courts in the league. And the rich get richer at 15 with Thomas Sorber going to OKC and getting a chance to heal at his own pace. This is scary so far. I think this is a very realistic mock so far. So I really like this. Number 16, Matt. Orlando Magic have been on the clock. Who would you select for them?
The Magic also aren't super smart during the draft all the time. They like to take people who can't shoot. So I'm gonna go Jaeger Demon.
I could see that happening. To who I was looking at right away, but yeah, they definitely could take the Jaeger. He's also a possibility slipping to 20. We'll see what the Heat do if that's an option. Lou with the Minnesota Timberwolves, courtesy of Detroit, at the 17th pick.
I think this is where they take. Oh, man, Minnesota's so difficult. I'm gonna say they go for like Carter Bryant.
Okay, I like that, Carter Bryant. I think Nikhil's a free agent, if I'm not mistaken, so it makes some sense. 18th, Washington, courtesy of Memphis. Who are you going with, Matt?
They went okay, so we had Knipple going there.
Yep.
Ooh. This feels like a Liam McNeely spot.
Ooh, okay. And Lou, with your last pick, Brooklyn Nets take courtesy of Milwaukee with the 19th selection. Who are you going with?
Who did they go earlier? It was Fears, if I'm not mistaken, Fears. Right?
Yep.
With them going Fears earlier, I think at 19 they'll probably go somebody like Danny Wolf.
Ooh, okay. Danny Wolf out of Michigan. And now we can get into our second portion of the draft. Now the Heat are on the board, courtesy of the Golden State pick at number 20. Our board, our mock draft here, has a lot of candidates available. We know Jace Richardson, son of Jason Richardson. It has been linked to the Heat as well for their interest in him, as well as I believe Nee Clifford. Was it? Am I correct, Matt? Nee Clifford was a guy interested. It was Fleming.
I think it was
Fleming, Richardson,
and Clayton.
Clayton for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Walter Clayton out of Florida, national champion. But I think this, and Boogie's already back in school, so forgive this mock not having that correct. But this is what I'm very upset and annoyed that the Heat didn't get the first pick and make have an easy decision. But I still think, even at 20, you're like, even in this mock draft, even if this doesn't go exactly the way we projected, whatever, I see Jace Richardson, Nolan Traore, Nee Clifford, Ben Saroff, Cedric Howard, Will Riley, LeBaron Philon, Walter Clayton. Those are all guys I would be okay with. And Cam Jones was the guy that I just remembered. Marquette, Cam Jones. I like Cam Jones, but I think he's probably the least upside that I would like out of this pick. So we're going to get into this now. A lot of guards here. So Matt, first I want to go to you as our guest. What do you think the Heat's biggest need is?
There's really two of them, but I think the biggest one is you need like a lead facilitator.
Okay.
Ideally someone who can defend at the point of attack too. This isn't a good draft for like guards who can shoot.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like either just below average or just horrendously bad 3-point shooters. Obviously that can develop over time, but ideally you would want someone to fit the bill of like, okay, I can run an offense, I can be a lead facilitator, or at least at worst a secondary facilitator. I could defend at the point of attack. I think that's their biggest need. I think another one though that I've mentioned that isn't as popular, which I don't think they would do this at 20, but you're in a situation now where you drafted a backup big last year, and now with Ware and Bam will likely start together again, and now you're relying on a however old Kevin Love. And so I think you're going to have to find someone to take up those minutes at some point. I don't think it'll be in this draft. I think that's more of like a free agency thing, but just in terms of like what they need, I think those are like the two biggest needs, with the lead facilitating being atop the list.
Okay, absolutely. I think I agree with that as well. Lou, do you have anything to add onto that?
Yeah, I mean, like just to add on, like I don't think the Heat should be taking any player off of their board because of a position that they're in. Like they shouldn't be denying whoever BPA is. Wing wasn't mentioned. I think they still need a wing, like especially long term, Hyman not taking the leap that you wanted. Nico's a bigger wing, but to some degree, there's still a need for that, especially long term. Obviously, guard is super important, and I don't hate the third big pick at 20 as much as I feel like the consensus would be amongst Heat fans is not a big at 20. I don't think it's that bad. I just don't want it to be a reach for a big,
Right.
or like if Sorber for some reason was available at 20 and his medicals are cleared, like that's not something I'd be upset about. If that was their BPA at that moment in time, like you can do a lot worse for a third big. So, it is what it is. I just want them. I don't want them to pigeonhole themselves into a need, because they're so, like, we've gone over literally every position from 1 through 5, and it's been like you can make an argument for it. That's just how lackluster the roster is in terms of talent that they just need it. So
absolutely, they won 37 games. They were bottom 10 and they've been bottom 10 in offense for 3 straight years.
Yep.
Like right around top 12 in defense all last 3 years as well. And this is a team that needs a talent injection. I think the best player available definitely is the mindset. With that being said, like, is there anybody for Matt, for you, in your opinion, with this board as it is? I see it, a lot of guys here that I've already scouted and I really like. What's your opinion on the board as it stands right now?
If my top 3, just as of right now, would be Jace, Seraph, and Neek. Those are like, if this is how the board fell, those would be the 3 guys. Obviously, I like Phylon. I'm not as much of a Clayton guy as most are, only because like he's a tough shot taker and a tough shot maker. He doesn't do a whole lot else. He's not the biggest guy on the floor. Like it's not like he's bad defensively. I mean, I think he's like an adequate playmaker, an adequate defend, but like he doesn't stand out really in any other way. Can you scroll down a little bit, please?
Of course.
I mean, I like Cam Jones. The combine was concerning. Not that you should take a whole lot of stock in like combine scrimmages or athletic testing or all that stuff. Like obviously there's 30 plus games of film. In Cam Jones' case, there's more than that because he played, 3-4 years in college. But it was a little concerning, the athletic limitations that he did have. Just like he didn't have the same burst. And I think like someone at his size, 6'3", 6'4", doesn't have a long wingspan. Like he was an excellent facilitator. Like he had one of the best assist turnover ratios in the entire country last year in his first year of really being like a league creator.
Yeah.
But that was a little bit concerning. Another one here that I want to mention, I don't know if this guy actually stays in the draft, but Tahad Pettiford is someone who I'm like a big fan of. He is small, but he's exceptionally quick. He's a good shooter. He's a good playmaker. But I just think he's athletic. He had a 42-inch max vert, I think.
Yeah.
But he's just someone that's just small, and like obviously that is like an orange flag to some. Just because he is 6 foot, 6'1". He does have a long wingspan. I want to say it was like 6'6", 6'7". He's pesky defensively, but like that's as much as you can say just because of the size limitations. Like he's always going to get picked on.
Yeah.
But if I were to just limit like a top 3, I would probably say it would be Seraph, Jace, and Neek, not necessarily in that order. If I had to,
you said Neek, the last one?
Yeah, Neek
Clifford. Okay. Yeah, and I want to talk about Neek Clifford specifically because he's the older prospect in this range. He's him and Cam are both 23. Cam Jones out of Marquette. I like Cam. I just think if this is the board, I think there's like almost no scenario where he's the best option at 20. I think he's going to be a solid pro. And I really enjoy watching him, but I think there's just going to be better options. I'd rather take a chance on LeBaron, for example, if it's between those two. We have Will Riley, freshman athletes with upside. And I'm watching Saraf and Traore this week. So I think there's a lot of great options here. Lou, as it stands, who would be your top 3?
So currently, as it stands, it just happened to fall this way. I do think it's 3 guards would be my top 3. It would be Jace. I think that's probably where I'd lean the most, if I'm being honest. Aside from Jace, I think I would take a hard look at. I really like LeBaron. Just in general, I just don't know how much he'll fill a need for what Miami is probably looking for long term. And this is in no order, by the way. I think just Jace would be my one comfortably, and then the other 2 guys would swap. And I think I'd have Traore.
Okay.
Yeah, I came out way more impressed with Traore than I did, just in general, than I thought I was going to be, considering like his shooting splits and his struggles. But so that would be kind of where I'd lean. Like if we had to pick something else position wise, if we had to go wing, I've been a Will Riley guy since the get go. I think his playmaking in particular, in comparison to his size, would be something that would be appreciated in Miami. He has some limitations. I think when we're here, we're talking at 20. All of these guys are going to have some sort of limitation. So it's just which one of those are you more comfortable fielding a team around them to, not exploit their weaknesses in some capacity. But, I do think I'd love Nick Clifford too. Like he's one of the only old guys that I would have an exception for. I think I've talked to you about this, Franky, off air in particular. I don't want anybody older than 21, like maybe 22 pushing it. But Neek is an anomaly in the sense that I think he can instantly help improve your floor. Is he a ceiling raiser in the right situation? Are we the right situation? Not at the moment. Like I think we're far from the right situation. So, but with that being said, I do think that he can come in. And I think this guy actually went to that school, and it's not to like do the same school comp thing, but like in the way that Derek White helped the Spurs originally, I don't think he has that ceiling. And obviously Derek White's improvement in his career was astronomical. But in terms of like older guy coming out who you've seen in different roles and just makes winning plays wherever he's at on the floor, I do think Nick Clifford can come in and play right away. Like, I think out of every guy that we've named, I think out of every guy that's available on this board, he is the most plug and play.
Yeah, I think Neek is going to be a guy that probably gets picked in the 20s. In all likelihood, there's a chance he goes in the teens, but I think whatever team picks him is going to like him. Like he can do a little bit of everything. He's athletic, which a lot of the older guys have some athletic limitations. We saw with Jaime in his case. I think he would be ecstatic at this board. Just so many options. I still have guys, some of these guys to watch, but I love Jace Richardson so much. He's just a high field player. He's smaller, but he doesn't. But Lou, we talked about this. He doesn't play small. There's guys that get bullied around. He fights. He competes. He scraps. He makes great decisions with the ball. We would love to see him with more on-ball reps, because he would have to scale down and play point, or at least be next to somebody who can play the point. But I love his competitiveness and his feistiness and his feel. I like Cedric Coward. I make fun of his name a lot. Not a coward. He's got some game. I'm interested in diving into him a little bit more when we get to the wings. But yeah, LeBaron Philon strikes me as one of those guys that he's not. You might not be too excited in year one about him. You just see flashes of winning plays, but by year 3, if the shot gets right and he gets the proper development, I think you could find yourself in like a Drew Holiday situation where he could be that kind of defender, peskiness, leader. Maybe not the on-ball guy that the Heat are looking for, but I think the on-ball guys are very hard to find at this range. Like that's why I'm interested in Traore as well, because that's a guy that if he's available, he's a big point guard, and he's gotten a lot better during the season. That's something I really value with the young guys. Now, I want to talk about some of the young guys that the Heat have, because I was thinking about this today. I don't think Jaime Hawkins would be a first round pick in this draft coming out of college. I'm curious about you guys. I just want to talk about the last three guys, specifically where Nico and Jaime out of where they were as draft prospects. Where do you guys have them amongst the first rounders?
I think Jaime would be a late first. Like, I don't think in a redraft, like, if assuming we had 18.
No. I mean, I'm sorry.
No,
I mean, Jaime
right?
in the 2025 draft.
Yeah, like, or I get, yeah. But I think he'd be a late first.
Okay. I don't disagree, but I think that's more his range than like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think considering how many people have dropped out, I think he would be in a late first. He'd be pushing like the 27s through 30s pretty comfortably, but I don't think he'd be higher than 20.
Okay.
Like
What about where?
Knowing what we know now?
No,
Yeah,
out of college.
Okay.
Okay.
He's not a first round pick.
For you, Lou, he wasn't a first round pick for you last year either.
He was 28th on my board, so he was first round pick.
Yeah, I would
22.
say in like the 15 to 25 range for him.
Okay.
Too.
I could agree with that.
I will say this on where I think he'll go higher, or like just in general, I think I've undervalued centers in the past, just because their jobs can be so simplified sometimes that they can have an impact on the game, where you really get to hide some of their weaknesses. But this draft, like, so many centers have gone back already, right. And it's not, and with Sorber's medical having a little bit of a taint to it, like it's really an issue. We obviously have guys like Yexa, who ended up going back already. Yannick, who I really like, might go back. Condon, who went back. Like a lot of these guys that were like end of the first round guys went back. So like I think Kalel would probably sneak his way into like the same range as Jaime.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's a little younger too, so I think Jaime would have that working against him, and where would have it for him. What about Nico? I think Nico's would be probably like late for 25 to 40.
Yeah.
I think Nico would ultimately be in the end of the first round as well.
Yeah, similar range to where he was drafted.
Yeah, not too far off.
Right. He's still a big wing who could shoot and pass. Like it's still stuff to like about him. All right. So with that being said, we've talked about some of their needs, obviously offensive talent and lead guard, lead decision maker. Matt, you're on the clock. Who do you think the Heat would pick?
I would be thrilled if the pick was Jace Richardson. Thrilled at this spot. Because not to say that like I mean, I know we just did an exercise where we picked who we thought would take, but like there's also a world where he doesn't fall out of the lottery.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So I would be thrilled with Jace at this spot. To your guys' point, I think I wish we saw more reps, but like the thing is, it's like he got more reps in a Tom Izzo offense as a freshman. Like Tom Izzo doesn't really rely on a freshman like that. That's just not who he is as a coach. Not that it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like he's obviously one of the most successful coaches in college basketball history. But like his role increased as a freshman. To your guys' point, he never made mistakes. He was incredibly efficient. His finishing numbers for someone of his size were absurd. Like I think he's like a slam dunk pick here, just given how the board fell.
I'm with that. He was almost 50, 40, 90 as a freshman, and like you said, playing in an Izzo offense where he's just making reads and they're looking for the best shot, not necessarily running the offense through and for anybody specifically. Lou, what would you take Richardson? Would you think that they take Richardson as well?
I would sprint to the podium and take Richardson. If this is how the board fell, I would sprint to the board. I think ultimately he's going to end up somewhere in my top 10, maybe top 12. Like, I just like him that much. I can like, again, this is just how, like, it was predictive. Like, I promise, like, I thought about him like 4 different spots. Like, I really did. But so I do think the combine measurables scare teams or influence teams sometimes more than the tape like not more than the tape, but more than it should.
should.
Like, yeah, 100% more than it should. So, when he measured less than 6'1" without shoes, not a great sign, right? And he's not an on-ball guy. Like, there are concerns, right? Like, he's not a perfect prospect by any means, but typically these guys have to learn how to adapt in NCAA, especially like in a Tom Izzo offense. Like, he was on a winning team and he influenced winning on that team more than you can make an argument, damn near more than just about anybody else on that roster. So, like, as a freshman, that's really impressive. His ability to play off the ball, as much as the concerns are, how much can we see him on the ball? He's really good at playing without the ball. Like, and
quick decisions, ready to go.
Yeah,
so many great touch passes. Like,
so much movement. Like, he ran laps just to try to get to the ball. Like, literally, like, they were moving him off of 17 different actions to get him a spot, and then he can attack and as John Crotty likes to say, catch and go moves for days. Like, he's really, really great on his catch and goes. The jumper is league. Yeah, like, it's good. Like, it's not. Maybe he's not going to be an elite shooter. Obviously, there's some, improvements that he has to make. Maybe speed it up just a touch, because with contest, like, the contest window is going to be a little bit, like, the ability to get the shot off in the league is going to be less than it was in college, just due to the level of athletes and the length that's going to be on the floor at all times. But he's not even 19 yet. Like, I don't think he's going to be 19 at the time he gets drafted, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a young player, Nepo baby. That's a bonus, I guess. But two-way guy, like, he was guarding threes at times. Yeah, at 6'1".
He guarded Danny Wolf at times.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and it's again, it's I think,
and for those unfamiliar, Danny Wolf was a power forward center, measured at 6'10.5" without shoes, 251, had and Jace Richardson measured at 178.
Yeah, and to some of, like, in terms of, like, the way he uses his body and the way he, like, walls up defensively, and the size gave a lot of, like, what Kyle used to do for the Heat. Obviously, he's a lot faster and more explosive than Kyle was when he got here, so that's the perk.
Half his age,
but and half his age. That's hilarious. No, but no, like, seriously, like, he really, really helps in that area of the floor. And you have, it's not like you have a point guard on the roster that you have to give reps to over him. Like, let's be honest, like, Davion, he can coexist with Davion and they can both get reps. Like, Terry Rozier shouldn't even be in the rotation. So it's realistically,
well, he's gone for DeMar, so
yeah, hopefully that's the only way I'd feel better about the situation, I guess. But yeah, I'd be ecstatic if Jace Richardson was a pick, and I do think this board right here is damn near Heat heaven. Like, they would be thrilled to get a board like this, if I'm being
absolutely honest. I think, just to point out some of, like, the Jace concerns, like, I don't think height matters as much as wingspan. Like Walter Clayton is considered a bigger one, a smaller two. He measured at 6'2", and he has the weight. Granted, he's 4 years older than Jace, closer to 3.5, but he had a smaller wingspan, and Jace has a longer standing reach. And Jace measured well at the combine. He's explosive. He's not like the most explosive athlete. He's not his dad in any way, but he's got great balance. He's got great lateral quickness. I think when as he matures, I'm really big on drafting high field guys, so I would love him either way. He might not be the best player in the draft, but this is an NBA player. And if you're getting a guy who could potentially be a two-way NBA player at this spot, you're ecstatic with that. And I think he's one of the easy candidate for one of the best available players at this spot. I think, and just real quick, say Jace is not on the board. Give me your, because we've all acknowledged he's very likely a lotto pick or in the teens. Let's give a top three each of us without Jace. I personally, I think I'll go first. I think Traore, because I like the growth, I like the explosiveness, and I think the lead guard is is like the quarterback position. Like you need to take shots sometimes until you have that lead ball handler. You don't really have anything. I think I would really consider Cedric Coward, Will Riley as well. I would take those guys over Nick Clifford. I think Nick is a great player. I wouldn't mind him being the pick. I just think the other guys have more upside, and I would be more excited to watch them. So Lou,
not including Jace. I think I would probably pick Traore. Then like LeBaron as my second, and my third would probably be Saraf.
Okay, Matt.
I think the guy that I would pick would be Seraph. And then I would go Neek, then Traore.
Okay, I like it.
LeBaron just outside that mix.
I like it. Any reason you're going Neek over? Saraf over the other guys?
I think the positional size, the shooting, same with Traore, same with some of these other guys, is a concern with him. He also doesn't play like super physical offensively, but he is like kind of like a physical point of attack defender. I love his playmaking, like especially with his left hand, his strong hand. Like I watch him, and I hate comps. I watch him, and he reminds me of Dragic.
That's who I see too.
So fair, dude. Like,
so
I love the comp too.
So like that's kind of like I think just the positional size, I have him over Traore in the spot. Not that Traore is a bad prospect. Like I think Traore is one of the best, if not the best passer in this class.
Yep.
And so like if that's the argument for him, like completely fine with it. But I just think like the positional size, the point of attack defense, I think the shooting will come over time with Seraph. Maybe not right away, but I think it'll come over time. And I love the playmaking, the facilitating, the crafty dribbling that he has, like the ball hand, like he's got that ball on a string. Like,
yeah,
he's someone who I haven't watched like too much of him recently. But he was someone who I watched like the FIBA tape and whatnot. And like, he was just someone who I came away really impressed with.
I agree. I like him a lot too. Goran is exactly who I saw. The leftiness, the shoulder, using his shoulder, bumping off drives. I know Adele is a big fan of Saraf as well. I believe he said it as well. And if you guys don't know, Matt Hanifan and Digital Adele both work for 5 Reasons. They do a lot of the draft stuff, covering. He just came from potting with Adele right now. Was very courteous to give us some time here. We always welcome Matt back. This is his second voyage on the DraftBeat cruise, I believe.
Second or third
for sure. I think you were on a regular MHB pod, but
that's right,
one of those times. But you definitely were on DraftBeat last year, and we always welcome Matt and his opinion. Matt does great work covering the Miami Heat and the draft. I make sure you guys go follow him. Matt, what's your handle?
At NPH_824_. I really have to change that at some point.
Make it a little easier.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Easier for the people and easier for myself.
Absolutely. I completely understand you. And Lou, is there anything else you want to get into in this spot in the draft? I think we've all agreed is Jace right here. So let's make the pick.
Yeah. I think for just really quick on like Traore, like I think this is going to be a very interesting point of discussion between like Traore versus Saraf. I think I'm willing to acknowledge after watching both of them, especially like in the last 2 weeks, like really extensively, because like they're in the playoffs right now, in their respective leagues. I do think Saraf is a safer play. Mm-hmm. I just do like the long-term ability of Traore. Like Matt said, I think his passing is incredible. I think he can really help accentuate some of Kalal's strengths as a roller, especially, and really help put guys into positions where they can succeed. I do the reason I have him a little bit over, and him and Phylon for that matter, is their quickness, I think, is translatable to the league, where Saraf's biggest concern for me was his ability to get by people without the need of a screen. I do think like Traore, sometimes needs a screen too. LeBaron sometimes needs a screen too, but the amount of separation they can get off of that screen is truly, truly just I think it's almost borderline elite trait for them. Like it's probably some of their best offensive like separation trait. Where Saraf is a little bit more bully in the sense, but like finesse, and it's not as quickly. Like he just does it in a different way, in a different light. But I would be really happy. Ultimately, I do think the Heat are going to have to go guard with this pick because I think that's going to be where the board is going to fall for them.
And I love that you ended with that because next Tuesday, we break down specifically the guards, the lead guards. So we're going to talk about Jace Richardson more in depth, Nolan Traore, Ben Saraf, LeBaron Filan. We're going to talk about all these guys and a couple more other names that are in this range and see what the Heat's interest in would be, how they would fit on the roster, how the Heat could use them and help exceed their development and stuff. So make sure you tune that in. Matt, do you have anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
How much time you got? No. I pod with Adele over at Hoops Profile. Watch playback, or not watch playback. Playback.tv/Hoops Profile. I do stuff for 5 Reasons on playback.tv/5RSN. Writer at a few different spots: hot.hoops.com, vendettasportsmedia.com, mountainwestconnection.com. I'm doing a lot of different things for a lot of different people. Is the way I like to phrase it. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. It's always a blast talking draft with y'all.
We love having you on, Matt. And you also follow Matt if you're a devout Yankees fan. He talks a lot about the Yankees on his timeline. Likes Aaron Judge. Not a big Juan Soto fan at the time, but you know he's got his team. He's got the Bronx Bombers, and
wonder why
they're doing pretty good.
Wonder why
they're doing pretty good. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure next Tuesday at around 7 p.m. we'll announce the time as soon as we confirm it. But around this time. 7 p.m. Eastern time on next Tuesday, June 3rd. We will be talking the guards. Moose will be back in all likelihood. If he ever eats on time. God damn it, Moose. Eat your dinner on time. DoorDash is your friend.